Say when.
Yep.
My name's Shaun Woodsum. I'm with Crosswinds Forge. Wanted to talk about my new forge today and some of the advantages of this forge. A lot of people have had questions about the differences between these forges and how they work. When it comes to coal or coke forges, they pretty much are the same. They depend on air to fire them up. They don't, coke and coal doesn't light by itself. It doesn't catch on fire if you put a match to it. It's just the way that the air is delivered. And in this case, these are side blast forges. And the advantage of these forges is that they tend to want to blow in line this direction. So if anybody's ever operated an updraft forge, you'll know that you end up, your hair's dirty, everything's dirty because it's blowing up and all that stuff is coming down. With these, it tends to keep all your impurities and the dust all in the forge and not necessarily or blowing away from you. Another advantage of a side blast is that with an updraft, all of your impurities are going to the center. With this, the impurities stay away from your air source. And where an updraft, if all the impurities will melt together and actually plug up your air source. This design is also made for the competitor in mind, being that this 2-iron is not in the center of your forge. So I have brought this 2-iron slightly off center towards the worker or the person. That way you can pile up all kinds of coke on the other side, and the idea is to be able to keep fueling your forge and having a place to put all your coke instead of always shoveling in more coke or putting in more buckets of coke. You can put a ton of coke on this side and bring it towards you.
There it is.
Now I've also designed it with a firewall. This is about 3/16 thick. It's a double wall. It's got a 14 gauge piece of steel behind it. That way you have a little bit of a shield away from your Bosch tank that's behind here. Now the way the 2-iron works is that you got a pipe coming from the back that's your air supply. And that pipe runs through the jacket, which is in here, within this pipe, has water in it. So it's constantly being cooled by water around the air pipe itself. Now, if you come around this way, you'll see where the air pipe comes in from your gate that's down here. And it runs through, which actually, the only reason it runs through the tank is just because it has to get to the end of the 2-iron. It actually has no effect on the air itself. It's just, this is a convenient way to build it. This is a 30-gallon tank. I found out through Logan that this will boil if you use it quite a bit. So that's a lot of water, but it still will boil. What's important as you monitor the levels of your water. The only time one of these fails is because you're not taking care of the level of your water and it's getting too hot or you don't have enough at all. I'll probably get questions about this. This is a wheel system that Logan had me made for him. I'm not going to make those. I just did it for Logan. So there you go. Anyway, we got a bit of a gusset on the back. These forges are incredibly heavy behind. They tend to be a little bit heavy behind. So I've also reinforced and put an angle under the leg to support the tank. Nothing to monitor on these things except for the water. There's no pots to crack. There is no overheating of pots happening here. These stoves are built to last for a generation, and you won't have these interruptions or buying new pots all the time because you crack them. So in the long run, these are a little bit more economical for you. And like I said, these are built to hand down to whoever wants to take over after that. Also got a tong rack, that's standard. Yeah, and I do offer them with a blower or without. Most of you guys have your own blowers, so that's okay. You can throw your own blower on there. There's a 2-inch connection on them, and you might want to get a reducer for your blower. We had to do that with this one here. It was kind of an emergency thing, but yeah, we got it done. Let's see, let's walk around the front of this little. And I also want to show you this. This here, there's a shield too. That's the only reason for that is to contain your Coke when you're shoveling up there, and your supply of Coke on that side, so it doesn't fall out the front. I think I've gone over everything. Let's go over the air gate. Air gate is meant for any maniac to use. I mean, you can get crazy with this thing. You're not going to hurt anything, but you can sure yell at the person for doing it. And it's meant to take some abuse for when you get a little bit crazy with your forge. So everything's handmade, even the gate's handmade. So anyway, I'm hoping that kind of clears it up for everybody. We're gonna videotape Logan lighting this thing up so you guys can get the mystery away from that, because there's nothing special about that. It's just the same as any other Coke forge, but we're gonna show how it's done anyway. Thanks. Okay, I'm going to show you this 2-iron. This is off my double hearth. This is one exposed. You couldn't see the one on Logan's. This one, this particular 2-iron is 8 years old, and it's just about as crispy as the day I put it in. There is no burn marks. There is no melt marks. There is nothing, and that's what's so cool about these types of forges, is that they're constantly cooled by water. As long as the water is there, you're not going to have any issues whatsoever. What's cool about the side draft is that your air sources are coming in this direction. There's lots of benefits to that. Your air source is coming in a direction that's not going to blow dust in your face. Also, your range of heats will be different from this way. So you'll get a longer heat. So if you want something just kind of sort of hot, you range it there. If you want something really hot, you keep it there. So it's really easy to keep your whatever you're forging in a certain range of heat, whatever you choose it to be. When your clinker forms, it tends to form underneath the air source and never plug it. The only thing every time you have a restriction is sometimes you get to where you're stuffing a lot of Coke in front of it, and sometimes you'll have to release it to get it kind of kicked in so you can get some more airflow out. But other than that, you'll never lose your fire with this. You can get a clinker that's really, really big underneath there. Well, pretty soon it will just stop, firing up like it's supposed to, because you got more clinker than Coke there. Anyway, these are constructed from a 4.5 inch to a 4 taper. This is 1 inch thick plate on the end with a 1 inch hole. This is a pretty indestructible design. Like I said, the only reason it can ever fail on you is if you fail to monitor your water in the tank, or for some reason it plugs up. It's pretty hard to plug up. The only thing it can do is fail on you because you forgot to put water in. Anyway, so that's my construction, and anyway, like I said, crispy as the day I installed it. So Logan has one of these really cool bouncy house blowers that works really, really good. It doesn't fit underneath this stove, so it's a little too big. But anyway, way oversized. But the idea of this is just like with a Coke forge. Give it a little bit of air supply, and we'll go over that in a minute. All right. Just set it right there. You want to be slightly below the hole. Just pull it over and just give it a little bit of air. Don't try to kill it with air. You just try to get it just a little bit of air. And then just kind of put a little bit over at the top, just a little bit at a time. Let it lighten. Okay, at this point you're ready to forge. It's just like you would with a updraft, but in this case, it's coming in from the side and not blowing up from the top and blowing out of. Okay. Just on the place. Oh yeah, see? That's what's cool about cold forge, there's no oxidation, so you don't get a lot of flaking. You just get pure heat. Later.